Joining us now, quarterback for the New York Jets, four-time NFL MVP, Super Bowl champion, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, Aaron.
How are you, man?
Good afternoon, boys.
I'm very thankful that you wore the wired headphones for this particular conversation, so there's no chance of breaking the Bluetooth connection. I see you wear them into every single stadium that you walk into. You're old school, still are. I appreciate that.
You got to protect the brain.
Oh, see, I didn't even think about that because the radiation,
electromagnetic,
they're all just going in there. All right, anyways, let's not talk about the wired headphones, even though those are artifacts at this standpoint of life. Let's talk about the massive news.
Are they really? I feel like they're coming back. I see like 3 or 4 guys on the squad that got them. So there's a small, really tight-knit group on the team that has them.
You're an influencer, bro. It seems like,
smart guy.
Yeah, everybody's worried about the brain. It's a good idea. Putting the Guardian cap on, go back to the wired headphones. Let's make sure we're keeping his brain as safe as possible. Okay, here we go. This is a big deal, Aaron. I just kind of laid it all out. The narrative that has been built quickly, and I think this is what happens with your life for everything you do. There's a narrative that is built, and then you either decided for a long time to kill him with indifference and not answer a narrative, or whenever you came on our program and started doing as such and started opening up more to everybody, it was like you started like kind of nipping things in the bud that have been growing for a long time. Right now, the narrative that's growing around you is that you got Coach Saleh fired because you hate Coach Saleh. You didn't give him a hug, okay? You went to Egypt and you hate the guy. Now, I would love to offer you the floor to kind of explain how yesterday went down, your thoughts on it all, and how you think we got to this point that we're at with the New York Jets organization in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday was a day that reminds you of the simple fact that all of us who played know all too well, and that's that it's a tough business. It's a beautiful profession. It's incredible. It's done so much for our lives, but it's also a really tough business. I love Coach Saleh. We have a very solid relationship. We have since, I met him in 2021 and had a nice conversation when they came and visited us for joint practices. He was a big reason why I came to the Jets. I felt like the team, was a solid team. Had a relationship with Coach Hackett, obviously. And I really liked Coach Saleh. Everything that Matt LaFleur said about him, the few interactions I've had, the times that we went against him, I just had a lot of respect for him. And so, it was just a reminder yesterday how tough the business is. I think what people can forget in this is not only is Robert a fantastic human being and a damn good football coach, he's also a family man. He's got 7 kids. He's got an incredible wife. And the business of football can be hard, not just on those of us who are playing and coaching and doing personnel things and ownership, obviously, but it's tough on the families. And I've got to know Robert's family over the last couple of years, and especially one of his kids, Adam. Adam's my little throwing buddy from training camp. Love Adam. He's an incredible, incredible kid. And so I'm thinking there's obviously a lot of emotions, but you think about the family and the kids as much as, the people you love, your own family, who is the coaching staff and the players and what they're all going through. So, anybody who's kind of championing this decision, I would just appeal to the humanity of the situation and remind you there's other people involved. And Adam has to go to school today. Possibly, or this week. And hopefully there's no, kids with poor parents who are making snide side comments to him. It's just a reminder there's a lot of things involved in this. As far as any of the ridiculous allegations out there, I'm not going to spend more than one sentence in response to it, and that is that I resent any of those accusations because they're patently false. And it's interesting the amount of power that people think that I have, which I don't. But I love Robert, and it was, one of those days yesterday.
So yesterday, thank you for saying all that. And obviously, they'll take something you said there and chop it up and then say,
"Oh yeah, for sure."
To kind of that's the world we're in. Journalistic standards.
I don't care.
Respect. Yesterday, there was a lot of things that came out, little tidbits from insiders. One of them was that Coach Saleh was blindsided by it, and everybody in the building was. Is that an accurate depiction of how it all went down? Because then there was a report that you talked to the owner on Monday, you see. So you talked to the owner on Monday, then, firing happens on Tuesday, and that's why they started linking those things. How many of the reports have you heard about? And yesterday, was everybody in the building blindsided by this decision? Week 5, firing a head coach is a wild decision. I think but does everybody feel that way in the building?
Yeah, I did talk to Woody. Woody called me on Monday night. We had a short conversation. I appreciated the call. It was a genuine call, and he just asked me how I was doing. Obviously I got rolled up on in the game, and, my ankle got pretty banged up. So he just called and was asking how I was doing. And, we talked about the game and how disappointed I was in my performance and that I'm going to play better and we're going to get this thing turned around. And then we hung up. To that point, Woody has no obligation to let me know of what his plans are. Whether or not he knew what he was doing in that moment is inconsequential. I just appreciated the call that he was checking on me. It was just like a friend call, like you would do. Hey, man, I saw that hit in the game. You doing okay? And we had a nice short 5-minute conversation, and then that was that.
Okay, so everybody blindsided Tuesday by this decision, seemingly then.
Well, I was in the training room doing rehab, and it's one of those things like in a John Wick movie is the best way to equate it, where John Wick becomes excommunicado, and then everybody at the Continental's phone starts vibrating. Yeah, it was kind of like that.
Just through the building. Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit! A lot of that type of reaction.
I mean, there was a lot of conversations that happened after that. I mean, listen, football is a family atmosphere. You spend more time, for many of us with these people than our own loved ones. So it's a tight-knit community. And, I think everybody was feeling for Robert and worried about him.
Go ahead, AJ.
So you said Woody called you. Is that normal? Like, is it normal for Woody to call you at random times after games, or is that a specific one-time affair? Did you get any kind of feeling like, oh, that was something more than him just checking on me?
No, I mean, I felt it was a nice call, man. I was appreciative that he checked on me. We've talked on the phone a number of times over the last couple of years. He checked on me after my surgery. He checked on me during the rehab process. Christopher Johnson, his brother, and I have a good relationship. He did the same thing. He checked on me as well, made sure I was okay. So it didn't seem, nothing was abnormal. I was actually really thankful, for the call.
Coach Hackett, have you talked to him? Because his name obviously has been thrown into all of this quickly. And how do you feel about his position? And how do you feel about everybody in the building with him and all the drama that is seemingly surrounding you two's relationship?
Well, our relationship's great. It always has been and always will be. I think, that there was going to be some things that needed to change regardless of, what happened to Robert. And, we just haven't been playing consistent football on offense. And as we know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So, there's when you have a couple games, and obviously I didn't play well in either of them, but where you just don't play very efficiently, you got to adjust some things. So it's a part of our game. Change is part of our sport. And, I know there's a lot of things that were swirling out there, but at this point, Brick and I have talked a couple times, and I'm on board with whatever he decides as far as the offense goes. And I want to do what's best for the team, and we're throwing our support behind Coach Ulbrich and whatever he believes is best for the team is what we're going to go with.
You just called him Brick. That's a sweet nickname. So let's talk about Coach Brick real quick. What changes?
Yeah, I mean, I want to be respectful. It's Brick, I guess, when he's DC, and maybe it's Coach Ulbrich.
Oh, full name. Okay.
To start here.
Yeah, maybe just Coach Jeffy.
Yeah, Big Jeff.
Yeah, Big Jeff. Maybe that'll be the thing. And obviously, Saleh hired him. So, like that, their relationship, I couldn't even fathom how close they are. That is the football business. That is how coaching trees happen because of how close people are and staying in touch and everything like that. Firing a coach after week 5, you love the game of football more than anybody I've talked to. The history of it, the story, like the tradition of it. You're still wearing that stupid. You need to wear a different chin strap. All that stuff. You need to evolve a little bit. But I respect it because your old schoolness has you break an ankle and then not even miss a play and come back out. All of that thing. But firing a coach after week 5 normally doesn't end up great long term. What do you think Coach Brick is going to do with the opportunity here, and what do you think changes kind of going forward?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I mean, I think out of deference and respect to Robert, it's not going to be wholesale changes. I don't think. But Brick's going to add his own style to it. He does a great job with the defense. I've gone against him over the years in different coaching capacities. Believe that we were both playing at the same time too. So we have a lot of stories that overlap, and I really enjoyed getting to know him last year, especially in the off season, spending time with him, and he's got an incredible family as well. So I expect a steady hand from him and great leadership. He's a former player, knows what it's like to be in the locker room, and I think he's going to do a great job. But the most important thing is that there has to be some change, even just the smallest change to we need as players to take accountability for what's happened. I think that's the thing that hits you too in the moment is if I'd played better on Sunday, this doesn't happen. And as somebody who takes a lot of pride in their performance, that was the main sentiment for me yesterday. Obviously, heart going out to Robert because how much I respect him and care about him. And then the just disappointment of poor play that could have avoided a situation like we had. So I think it's a good perspective moment for all of us to reset mentally. A lot of stuff is right in front of us. Starting with this week, a division opponent, a chance to get to 3-3 and be tied for the division lead. We have 12 games left. It's a long season. There's been years where we started slowly and finished really strong. 2016, we were 4-6 and won our last 8 to get into the NFC Championship. 2012, we were 1-2 and went on a big run. There's always that run in the season where you hit it. You want to be playing the best in the winter months, and I think there's a lot that's in front of us, and I'm excited about getting back to it tomorrow.
Yeah, Coach Saleh said in his statement yesterday that he was disappointed with the fact he didn't get the opportunity to make it right with what he feels is a very good locker room or very good roster or something like that. You still feel that way, and Jets fans should still feel that way with everything that's happening? Like everything that you guys dreamed of whenever this Jets, Aaron Rodgers thing came together last season and then going into this season, still very much reality for these Jets fans when you look around in there?
Well, you know how the league goes. Narratives can change very quickly in a matter of a few days or a week. Things can get flipped upside down. So, it's just on us right now, I think, as players to really take accountability. Player cuts are less more dramatized than firing of a coach. I would say that's probably a true statement for the most part. Obviously, there's been a few over the years that get national headlines, but the players are the ones out there playing. And, we need to be accountable for our performances, all of us, myself first and foremost. And we got to fix that part. Great coaches have great players. That's part of it. Obviously, they add their own personality to it. They add their own flair and style and leadership qualities and vision for the team and saying the right thing at the right moment and creating a player-led team that has the freedom to hold people accountable, but the restrictions and boundaries to keep some of the stragglers in line. That's an important part of it. But first and foremost, at the core of every great team is accountability. So we got to be accountable to each other about our performances and be better.
Let's talk
All
about
of
that.
us.
Let's talk about that a little bit more. D-Bud has a question for you.
Yeah, as a quarterback, you're always under the microscope. So how do you, I guess, what helped you or who helped you? What process? Was it a person that helped you kind of block out those narratives? And now you're an older quarterback, older veteran quarterback, but there's young quarterbacks dealing with it as well, and it's much harder for them, I feel like, to block out those narratives. So who or what process helped you to kind of block those things out and just lock in on play?
Well, I think part of it had to be the insulation of playing in Green Bay. It's a blessing and also a strain in its own ways because it is a small town. At the same time, it's the only show in town. So you learn a lot of really good lessons as a young player about how to keep your focus and perspective where it needs to be. There's always going to be narratives outside the building. But you have to hold yourself to a certain standard and let that standard be your guiding principle, your North Star, not what everybody else thinks or says about you. Easier said than done, especially as a young player. I think you got to go through some of the aches and pains and bumps and bruises and ups and downs of the early part and try and keep your confidence intact. A lot of that has to do with the process. You talk about the process of preparation and your week, and you have to figure out what works best for you. Obviously, having sustained success kind of makes that a foundational part of what you're doing, but it's important to stick to that and not to deviate based on a win. Maybe I do a little bit less. I didn't have to study that much. Or a loss. Oh, I got to do way more. I got to just get in there and grind.
Lock in
there at 5 a.m. I've just never subscribed to that way of doing things. I think you can figure out what works for you and then stick to the process. Obviously, fine tune and find little tiny ways to reset after a win or a loss. But it starts with being self-critical and being accountable to yourself and your teammates.
After a win or loss, just go ahead and slam some ayahuasca and then just move to the next year.
Keep moving.
All right, D-Butt. Okay, that's just what.
It's funny. I used to talk a lot about drinking scotch. I'd always say, it's a tough game. What are you going to do tonight? I'm like, well, probably have 3 or 4 fingers. It's scotch. now it's
3 or 4 fingers of scotch.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
Scotch.
3
Get your
fingers
head out of the
from
game.
the bottom.
Come on, D-Bud.
That's what I said. I don't know what y'all talking about.
Oh, you're
Johnny
talking about
Manziel.
the fingers in the scotch.
Come on.
Unbelievable, this guy. Never ends.
Mine's in the gutter.
Anyways, now you just do ayahuasca. We get it. It's just kind of laying around.
Hit the pen.
Life changes.
I mean, can I just set that narrative straight as well? I'm not a recreational ayahuasca user.
Okay.
What?
All right. Put it on the ticker. Put it on the ticker.
A shaman has to be present.
Put it on the ticker. Okay, we got it. Okay, that is a narrative. Set it straight.
Enthusiast, yeah, okay, that's fine, but not a recreational user, please.
Okay.
I want that out there.
Is anybody on Earth, you know the world better than me, is anybody just a recreational ayahuasca? You know what? Yeah, I want to go to the 10th dimension today. And then the next day, and then the next day,
What?
and then the next day. Is anybody doing that?
It's possible. I would say you might need to do some field research and go to Burning Man next year to kind of test that theory.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm 37.
Where's that? That sounds fun.
It's in the desert.
It's in the Amazon jungle.
No,
No, it's not.
It's in
No, it's
America.
not.
That's where Burning Man is.
No, it's over there. I think it's left in the desert.
It's in
Nevada, right?
Yeah,
I think it's in Nevada.
Different.
Anyways, AJ has a question for you, Aaron.
Aaron, you mentioned obviously being insulated in Green Bay. What's that New York media market like? Is it what you thought coming in? Or what kind of challenges do head coaches have coaching there? I feel like it's obviously magnified compared to maybe other franchises.
Yes, it should be. It should be. It's New York. It's one of the biggest cities in the world. It has iconic sports franchises that play, iconic players who played for those franchises. So it's part of it. It's what you sign up for. I think it's it can be a big positive. It's a great learning experience for all of our players, young and old. We have a lot of coverage on our team, a lot of sources.
Source.
And I think it's important that we, try and tune out some of the outside narratives as much as possible. That's how we're going to give ourselves a chance to turn this thing around and make a run.
I hope you guys are able to do that. Would be a wild story. And I hope if you guys go and win the Super Bowl, they give Saleh a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, for the entirety of it all. Let's talk about the game that happened in England. Shout out to England, by the way. Love when those games happen. One's happening this weekend, I believe, 9:30 yet again in England. And if you get NFL Plus, you can stream NFL Network on NFL Plus. So it's like, boom, you got it on there. They got it all. Did you enjoy? Obviously you didn't. AQ has a question for you. Hey, that's on me. That's 100% on me. Did nothing good happen over there? That asshole. That is on me. AQ has a question, though, about, your trip over there.
Yeah, Aaron, you saw Brian Flores, and he's getting a lot of hype and what he's been able to do this year. Question is, what was he doing on third down that was – actually, what is he doing, period, that is really good? And second, his third down package with the 7-up, dropping guys out and bringing 4 to a side, whatever. You see it on tape, and it just seemed like they'd bring something different every time. What did you see that he does differently?
Well, they definitely had a couple of wrinkles on third down. For the most part, they were dropping interior guys coming in the plan. And they dropped Van Ginkel right into the throwing lane, and he had a pick 6 on me, which was a great play by him and a disappointing play, obviously, giving them 7 there because our defense played so well. But I think it's more than just the 7-up stuff. Obviously, that's going to get the attention. It's how you get to the 7-up stuff, and that's winning on first and second down. Because a lot of that shows up in the third and I would say 5, 6 plus, which – third and 4 to 6, those are manageable third downs. Third and 7 extended are a little more difficult, but it always comes down, as you know, AQ, to protection on those downs. And if you're bringing an extra guy than we can block based on the pre-snap look, it forces you sometimes to make some adjustments, whether in protection or routes, to get the ball out. And I think what's lost maybe in the conversation around B-Flow, which he deserves a lot of credit, he's done a really nice job, is how good they've been on first, second down. And that's, to me, what they're doing on first, second down is a lot of movement up front and some different types of fronts. They're in 3-down personnel and running 4-down spacing in some of these fronts, which is obviously different. Now, there's been some teams that have done that, whether it's playing an overfront, as the Rams have done at times with Aaron Donald to try and find singles for him. They were in more of a what I call a G front, and even G front, where there's a 3-tech backside and a 2-eye front side. And out of that, what they can do, because most teams will, if it's a pass play, we'll put, as you know, AQ, we'll put 5-on-5 in that situation. Now, I've created different types of leverage points. Now you have a center slide into a 2-eye. You have a guard slide into a 5 and a tackle slide into a 9. Backside, you have a 3 and a whatever you want to call the open end. But what they do out of that is they'll fire the will at times. So they're taking the back out of the route concept. And so you're eliminating checkdowns and doing what I like to call replacement fire zones, where they're still in bringing 4 or 5 guys, 5 in this case in base. So they have athletic guys on the edge, like Van Ginkel, who can drop into coverage. And so you've eaten up the back based on being in a 345 G front or even a 325 front. And now you've eliminated the check down and also not eliminated a player in the coverage scheme. So very good scheme by him. And the execution, though, obviously is the most important thing. Because like you said, they have all the different looks with different guys, different spots. And they can play 2 sky from it. They can play straight up Tampa 2. They can play where the corners are the half field players. They can bring everybody. They can play 1 height out of that. They can play 44 man out of that. They can do a lot of different things. And it's a credit to obviously how they practice and the flexibility they have with those players in those positions.
Have to have like super intelligent defense, right? Like the players have to. This is kind of like what was happening with the Chiefs last year, right? At the end, where Spags said, "I have 11 guys that know everybody's job."
Yep.
You have to be able to do that with the Vikings defense. And I looked at your guys' schedule here. I just got reminded, you guys have played the Vikings defense, Broncos defense, and Niners defense here in the first 5 weeks. That's welcome to 2024 football, baby. Let's go ahead and get that thing sorted. Now, against the Vikings, there was a moment, had us all worried. Aaron, go ahead, comment.
Yeah, Aaron, when you got bent back there, it looked very, very bad, and then obviously you came right back out on the field. When it did happen, was there any worry or PTSD going back to last year? I assume a lot of Jets fans were feeling that right away. And then if you haven't yet, there were some great memes from that photo and that play, and they're all funny now since you didn't get hurt seriously.
Back to the memes. So I'm just a walking.
Hey, you're a meme machine,
They're
brother.
good memes.
There's a bunch coming out today,
machine.
too. Yeah, you're a meme machine. There's already, yeah. I don't know if it's great.
Yeah, it was very, very painful. As I was going down, my foot was caught. I've been rolled up on before, but maybe not with my foot being caught in this way. Usually it's, maybe ankle is caught or, your knee is going. But a lot of times you can kind of like wiggle out of that, or something happens where the pressure gets alleviated. But that didn't happen. So for me, it's interesting, really good question by UBC, because there was a split second where I remembered what happened last year when I got up, because every player's worst fear, I think, is being carted off the field. And for me, having been hurt, a handful of times, I always want to just get off the field. Let me get off the field. If I got to take a cart, I just don't want to take it from the field. Just Give me off the field. And when I stood up last year and my heel hit the ground, the dread that filled my mind was, damn, that's bad, And so as bad as I was feeling in that moment, I just wanted to stand up. And in that moment, there was the memory of that feeling. And when my foot hit the ground, there was a total relief that came over me as I realized, okay, I don't think anything's broken. Let me just walk off here. And then I was just teasing one of our equipment guys, Jim. There was an interesting moment where I'm walking around the back of the bench to go to the blue tent, and I hear the crowd do something. So I'm like, oh, is that like a partial block punt, bad punt, good punt, whatever? And I realized that Timo just got roughed. But a lot of times, as you know, Pat, there's not a lot of protection for the punters, and it's very rare actually you get the 15-yarder. Most of the time, it's just a 5.
Yep.
And so I kind of waited, and when I saw him do the personal foul signal, then I was thinking, to my right is the blue tent. To my left is Jimmy from the equipment staff holding my helmet. He doesn't quite realize what's going on. And I looked over at him. I actually told him this just a little bit ago when I saw him. I said, I want to thank you because you gave me that 1% extra that took it over the 50-50 mark, where I was thinking, maybe I should probably get this taped up right now and just like checked real quick. But when I saw Jimmy hold my helmet, I was like, nah, I'm going to go back out there.
Atta baby, Jimmy! Now, if something terrible happens in the next play, Jimmy, Jimmy, kind of on you. Why'd you let that guy have
it? That's on me. They ain't on Jim. They ain't on Jim.
Okay, respect.
That's on me.
You jogging back out there, though, I think a lot of people are like, this dude's a madman. Because remember, you're supposed to be a prima donna, California hippie, this whole thing, yada, yada, yada.
I am some of those things for sure.
We should clarify which ones you agree you are, because once again, meme machine. There will be a full. There will be responses from other people, but you are a hippie from California. Berkeley was awesome, by the way. Hey,
shout out Berkeley, man. Shout out Coach Wilcox. Shout out the man, the myth, the legend, Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's the best, dude. He's
the best. You have no idea how much of the best he is. Actually, I think I told you how much of the best he is, what he showed up with, how he showed up, the whole thing. It was just, and everybody's like, yeah, absolutely, it's Marshawn Lynch. I think the entire world is just like, yeah, Marshawn can do whatever the hell he wants.
Amen.
That's what Marshawn Lynch is. He's awesome.
Say whatever he wants, do whatever he wants.
Be loved.
And that talk about power, that's power.
Yeah, Marshawn. Marshawn could have done whatever he wanted.
He choked per Herbstreit.
Boom. Could have put him to sleep. Who's going to do what about it? I guess I would be the one that would have to, because I'm right next to him. But then also, Sean, pretty good TV. I guess you just choked out Kirk Herbstreit right there because he disagreed with a Virginia Tech Stanford pick. I mean, that is certainly something that could happen. But nonetheless, Berkeley was awesome. You're a California hippie. So whenever those types of plays happen, I think, we all get reminded quickly, like, this is a guy who's in. What year is this for you?
20.
3 head coaches. You're a coach killer. You heard that?
I have not heard that.
Yeah, there was a couple. I'm telling you.
I wouldn't worry about it, Aaron. He's just flapping his gums.
Well, I mean, I don't know who said it exactly. It started.
I do. I'm done with it.
Okay, all right. Gumpy, not the biggest fan of whoever started that entire thing, but 3 coaches, 20 years. Is this the first time this type of situation happened here, week 5 for you?
Week 5, yeah. I mean, Mike was let go in 2018. And I mean, just like this one, I, had no foreknowledge of any of it. That was, after a real bad loss to Arizona. And we honestly weren't that good in 2018. I think we were 4-6-1 at the time. if Ty was here, he could probably fact check me. But
Congrats, Ty.
yeah, congrats, Ty. But that was hard in its own way because Mike and I had been together for 13 years, and he had believed in me and stood by me in 2008, and that was a very strange time for sure. And every situation is different. Like I said, I came to New York. Part of the reason was because how much I believe in Robert Saleh. So every situation is different. But again, like I said before, it's a reminder. We're so fortunate to play this game, and it's a beautiful, incredible profession that has given all of us, all of you guys as well, and everybody in the back, such an incredible opportunity and life to live. I think about the late, great Bill Walton, and every time I saw Bill, whether to me or someone else, and I never understood why he's saying it to me, but he would say, one of his favorite sayings was, "Thank you for my life." And I always thought that was so cool. Like he lived his life with a gratitude for all the amazing things that happened. And talk about a guy with stories, everything from playing for Jack Ramsey and playing for the Celtics to winning championships, UCLA and John Wooden, being a Grateful Dead, super fan, best friends with all those guys. And he lived his life with such gratitude. And I think that's the other reminder is just gratitude for the time to be in the league, gratitude for my time with Robert, for the conversations, for the lessons, for the golf, for the fun times, for the jokes, for the hugs, which there were quite a few.
No.
Not quite a few. There was a few.
There could have been one more for sure. Could have been one more for sure.
Could have been the one.
Right on the sideline.
Could have been one more.
After a cool play.
Yeah.
But this game has given all of us a lot. But it's also a tough business.
AJ, what do you got, bub?
You mentioned, Aaron, that you were in the training room when you found out, like whatever time it was in the morning. How long do you stay at the facility? Like, there's no protocol on how you handle something like that. What do you do, especially as a guy in your situation? Like, do you feel like, hey, I got to walk around and rally the troops? Like, what happened?
Well, my first priority starting the day was rehab. I'm trying to get my leg to feel a little bit better. So I was in there early doing rehab, and then that obviously, changed the direction of the day for all of us. I knew that the schedule was going to change, and that something, there was going to be, there wasn't going to be a 12:50 special teams meeting and quarterbacks at the same time. So I think my message was just get to the facility and be ready for, a different type of day. The leadership council met with the ownership to start, and then we were informed that Brick was going to take over, and then there was a team meeting, and then we had some individual meetings. So again, it was a different schedule for the day, but I was in there doing rehab, and that's when I found out.
So leadership council meets with ownership after the announcement, before the Coach Ulbrich announcement, and then does ownership address team as well?
No, at the same time. Yeah.
Oh, same time.
We met. It was after the announcement. I can't remember exactly how much time it passed, but then there was a text about the leadership council meeting with management and Woody and Chris Johnson, and then Brick was in there, and he addressed us, and then we had a team meeting. And it was very similar, just with the rest of the team.
Got it. Okay. Well, hey, thank you for joining us, clarifying your side of the entire situation, because your side was being given to the internet there for a while. You're a mean machine. And we wish you and the New York Jets luck the rest of the season this week. Big one on Monday Night Football. Obviously, today is your Tuesday off day. We appreciate you chit-chatting here in between treatment sessions, and good luck on Monday night, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for being flexible. Obviously, yesterday's schedule got kind of thrown all around, and this was better because we would have only had a few minutes yesterday. But, just to finish this, I think I just want to say, first of all, thank you to Robert. Thanks for bringing me in and getting on board with that. Just publicly, obviously, There's words that we share privately, but I'm thankful for Robert. I'm thankful for his leadership for our team. I'm thankful for the conversations that we were able to have, and him trusting me, and the way he cared about his players, and a big love out to his family, wife, their kids, especially Adam. Sending you a big hug, buddy. And just remember this: there's a human side to this. There's the humanity in all this, and there's a family, an extended family that's really hurting. So when you're out there, as the internet does and as people do, celebrating this in whatever way you do, just remember there's a human aspect to it. When it comes to me, I don't feel like I need to defend myself or say anything. There's always going to be narratives out there and conversations around what I think and how much power I have and how much influence I have. It's not something I worry about. It's really not. I care about my teammates, care about winning. I'm accountable to myself, my organization, my teammates. I got to play better. I will. And we're getting behind Brick, and there'll be some changes with this. And that's the direction we're going to go. But we're going to stand behind Brick, and we have a lot to play for. And yesterday was about remembering how tough this game is. And today's about moving forward and embracing the changes that are coming, the changes that have already been made, and sticking together. And it's a time for us as players to lock arms with each other and find that belief inside of us, because that's the only way that we can inspire the belief in our fan base to get behind us in the right way. So I appreciate you guys, and I'm going to go home and relax a little bit and
Hell yeah.
look forward to tomorrow.
Hell yeah. Hey, we appreciate you. That was a good speech, brother. That was a good speech. Let's go run through a wall for the New York Jets. You're the man. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers. That was a good speech.
It's great.
I think it's the same one he gave team yesterday.
I assume that was a group text there. Seemed like we got to rally together. Maybe to the team. Sound like he did speak to the team. The leadership council meeting with management, he said. Okay, so that's ownership and I assume general manager, and I assume Brick was in there as well, going through it all. Interesting, man. Just in the 5th week, going into the 6th week of the season, for that to happen, wild.
Yeah.
Anytime. And then obviously with Aaron Rodgers being dropped into it, being Aaron Rodgers, I mean, that's a whole nother, what a situation there. Very thankful he stopped by to clarify his stance on it all, AJ.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like, I don't know how many people other than Woody knew of the decision, or if it was just Woody. To think now, okay, what's the plan going forward? Brick's got to find a way to bring everybody together. Like, it's a big task, man. I'm looking forward to see how they handle it.
They're putting out some stats about Woody Johnson's time as the owner of the Jets. You know, it seems like there is. You lose, you make this decision, this thing happens. You know, it's going to get loud. And the thought of ownership potentially, like seeing headlines and hearing from friends. Remember, Mara, the owner of the Giants, went on the record and said in an interview he was sick of telling his friends and explaining to his friends why the Giants suck at football.
Yep.
So they spend money. When Aaron says there's a human aspect to the Coach Saleh side, there's a human aspect to these bazillionaires that own teams too. And a lot of pride, a lot of ego, a lot of combos potentially. Maybe he did just wake up and say, I'm done with it. Fired. Maybe. We don't know. First time he's ever done it in the middle. But we will learn, I assume, inevitably. This story will continue to evolve and grow, and I hope we get a chance to hear it. To Coach Saleh and his large family.
Yeah, very large.
Adam and Aaron had handshake, actually, training camp. Remember, had like their own handshake and that entire thing? People don't talk about that or forget about that. It's like, I think you all are going to have a much happier life wherever you go to next, and he's D coordinator.
For sure. That's right.
I think.
Some places he can end up. But in that Jets building, it is still a very long season left. They don't have the toughest schedule, still have a very talented roster. So the first message is, hey, everything we want is still out there. You know, it's not like the league, the season has slipped away, or we got this rookie quarterback we're trying to develop. Like, you still have the pieces. You're still in the division. You can win. So it's still all out there for the Jets.
It absolutely is. Hour 1 wrapping up here. Hour 2 on the other side. We'll have Adam Schefter join us. Then we'll have J.J. Watt join us. And then we'll wrap up all the news stories happening around the sports world on this glorious Aaron Rodgers Wednesday.
Whoa.
I'm excited to see the reaction, the fallout from everything he said there. I assume everybody's being very reasonable.
Very rational.
Always are.
And people probably change their minds.